Alright guys, welcome back to the bomb shelter. I've had to move, and so I'm shooting this from a whole different room, different apartment, moved out of a house into an apartment. That's how it goes here in Seattle. But that's another story, and I want to bore you with my personal life. I'm just glad to be back here shooting some videos for you guys and hopefully helping you out with some things, getting you fired up for some things. Don't forget to leave a comment, guys. Let me know where you're at with your playing and what you'd like more of. I'm enjoying this online learning thing for myself. I'm just learning tons of cool stuff, but I want to also share. So, and what I was thinking about doing this week is just kind of talking more about real basic foundational funk music, James Brown era type stuff, and some of the basic shapes, some of the basic notes in the chord or intervals, right, if you will, and things you just need a lot of mileage out. So let's get into it. So if we're looking at, like, I'll leave the links in the description there of these tunes. Mother Popcorn is one, right? Or the Popcorn, they call it. And there's different variations of it. James Brown did things differently all the time. But that shape, that concept is something you're going to hear in a lot of different types of funk music, right? And what it is essentially we're primarily anchored in using our root, our fifth, and our octave, okay? Which, by the way, is something that I might do another whole video just on that, trying to box yourself into playing grooves just using the root, the fifth, and the octave. And then, of course, using your flat seven, especially when we're doing dominant seven chords, which is what we're doing. These four, if you want to call them four, these three notes, or the octave is obviously the same as the root, but these are your essentials, right? But we use that a lot as bass players. People want to hear that in all kinds of music. That root and that fifth is essential, and then using that octave, using that seventh, and then the third. So with this shape, what we're looking at is, again, that root, that fifth, and that octave are going to be primary for these grooves. The other aspect of this is this walk up from the major third to the fourth, to the sharp four or flat five, however you want to think about that, to the natural five. So again, this is used in all kinds of grooves, and I'll put some links in the description of some tunes, right? But if we look at, say, the Popcorn, one of the ways it's played is simply with this root, five, octave, root. Excuse me, root, octave, fifth, octave, root, right? So that's kind of the initial groove. Sometimes you might hear it, which is what the guitar players do in one of the tracks, you know. But here's one that you should really kind of get in on. Then we're walking from the third, fourth, sharp four, five. So that groove is something I would say to practice quite a bit and get really comfortable with, right? Then you start to embellish on it a little bit, and you'll hear other tunes. Mother, Gotta Have a Mother for Me is. So see, again, they're working that root and that octave, right? That root and that octave, like I said, is in funk music constantly, and something to just really get a good feel. Right there's a groove, right? Getting comfortable with that in all parts of the neck, right, etc. So we've got that. Another great tune that adds a little bit to this now is one by King Curtis, Memphis Soul Stew. And I put the description, as I said, I'll put a link down there in the description, and check that one out, which starts with an E, and it's a cool little. So we're on the E, we're playing that root. Now, what's cool about this tune is that we utilize that 5 and that 7, but an octave below. And then when it kicks into the groove, he uses both octaves. So what starts to happen is when the groove kicks in, it goes. So that's something you want to practice, getting that feel. What I like to do on that is simply just bar with my pinky across that, from that 5, which is the B, to the octave, which is the E. And then slide down. Right? So. Then what comes up? So there's that 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, or blue 5. Sometimes like that flat 5 or sharp 4 is like the blues scale, right? But in this case, it's just a great passing tone from the 4 to the 5. And again, used all over the place. The thing about dominant 7 chords, which is what this is built off of, is you can kind of chromatic approach everything all over the place, right? And again, maybe another subject for another video. But in this case, right, we're not really doing that much anywhere else. Now, when you listen to him play, he embellishes this thing all over the place, right? But the essential part is this. So another way I'm playing that again is I'm playing the root with my first finger, and I'm using my pinky for the next 2 notes. So root 5 octave, then first finger for the 7. Right? So I'm going. Now I cheated there and used my 3rd finger. Okay, so you can do it however you want. Like for me, that's kind of comfortable to go with the pinky, then the first finger, but then use my 3rd finger. Pinky. I had an upright bass teacher, instructor who took me a while to not use my 3rd finger, because in the upright it was the 1st, 2nd, and then just the pinky. Anyways, you know, again, find what works for you. If you can keep the groove, then you're doing it right. So there's your shape. Then first, second, easy, right? Then it's that boom, 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 up to the octave, right? So that's it. That's all I wanted to share today, is just for you beginners, is getting into this, getting that root, that 5th, that octave, 7 octave, and then jam along with these tunes, right? Another tune that comes to mind is Let the Music Take Your Soul. Now this is, or I think it's Let the Music Take Your Mind, excuse me. And this is actually a cover Grant Green does. And I play in a bunch of bands that would cover this tune. But it's got this bass line. It starts with this, and then the groove is. So it's just that 1, then that 3, 4, sharp 4, flat 5 to 5. And like always, like everything, it's just the feel that you put behind it. It's the groove, it's the space in between the notes that are going to make it groovy or not, or funky or not. But this is, again, what I consider foundational funk music. If you're going to, you know, get into that kind of stuff, then pick up these bass lines as a crux, as like a starting point, right? And then you're going to see it in a lot of other types of music. So anyways, guys, that's all for this week. Good to be back. I hope you like that. Like I said before, put a comment down below. Let me know where you're at with your bass playing, what your style is. I primarily like funk and jazz, blues, but I like everything. Rock, anything with soul, I'm into it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.